Sector Wars, play Astro Blaster.
If you destroy my baby,
Intruder alert. The intruder must not escape.
Dragon's Lair, a fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight.
you will be a scorpion.
Prepare to qualify.
Oh, warrior needs food badly.
Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and this time we're going to look at a request by the name of SAR Search And Rescue, created by SNK in 1989. This was suggested by YouTube user Charlie Cat, and this is notable for being the last game by SNK with rotary joysticks, which were knobs that you can twist left and right, and you can move them like regular joysticks. And rotating the knob will turn your firing direction. And it is also the last SNK game before their MVS arcade board, which was used pretty much for their NEO GEO games. But this is reminiscent of a whole bunch of run and gun games that were pretty much overhead action, like Ikari Warriors, and Heavy Barrel, and the like. What kind of makes this a little more interesting is that by holding down the fire button, you can charge your weapon into a special attack or a special effect of some sort. You have 3 different types of weapons. There is a fast fire weapon, and your bullets will shoot very quick. It's not automatic or rapid fire quite, but when you hold that down, you fire off this big blue ring that's very destructive. There is a weapon that allows you to shoot fireballs, and you can hold that down for a little while, and then when you release, it'll make a shield that's very, very temporary and can't take very many hits. And there's a little backstory here. And the last one is missiles. And if you hold down the fire button for a little while and release, you will fire off this cool black hole, and it can suck some enemies into it. And as I said, this is a rotary knob type of game. You can use the knob as a joystick, but if you turn it left and right, you'll rotate your firing arm. And you are definitely going to need to do that in this game, because enemies can come from above and behind you, or in front of you and behind you. I have never seen this one in arcades, never heard of it until Charlie Cat mentioned it. Charlie Cat's real name is Anthony. If you go to AtariAge.com, he's got a very cool NEO GEO thread. And NEO GEO being an SNK product, this game piqued his interest, so let me know about it. Now, there will sometimes be doors that open up and enemies will appear. You won't be able to fall into that hole there, but you want to keep looking for doors to advance, and you'll see an arrow that points in the direction you need to go to open that door. Here in this room, there's only one direction to exit, and that's just up. There will be a lot of different enemies. Some of them take multiple hits, and the more xenomorph-looking enemies might make a quick charge at you after you kill their first form. So look out for that. And there will be some enemies that are crawling on their bellies. And sometimes they can move fast, and they'll often come at you from behind. But yeah, you definitely have to make use of your rotary joystick. And SNK was making a lot of games with those. Data East did some with the rotary joystick. With these cannons on the line, keep your distance. You can be just out of the range of their fire and still get hits on those cannons. And as I said, there's 3 different types of weapons, and you can pick up icons along the way to change your weapons. There is fast fire, which is 2 dots. That's its indicator. And if you hold the fire button down for a little while and then release, you will get a ring of fire. Not like the Johnny Cash song, but it'll release this big ring of blue flame at the enemies. There will be boss fights eventually. This game can take a while to get used to. Sometimes there's destructible obstacles that you'll need to blast away at before you can advance. Yeah, the fireball in icon that lets you shoot fireballs, and if you hold that for a little while, you'll get a shield, and that is super useful at times, that shield. Even though it's just temporary, and it doesn't take many enemy hits to destroy it. And even without the enemy hits, it'll disappear on its own after a little while. But it's still very, very useful. And then lastly is the missiles. There'll be a missile type of icon. And if you hold that down, the fire button for a little while, and then release, you'll fire off a black hole, which can suck up some of the weaker enemies into it. It's kind of cool. I think I like the shield best, really. So that's what the fire weapon, the fireball weapon, would have. There's a lot of kind of gross, maybe some outright gore. Just kind of a yucky alien blood or alien goo type of feel to this game. Kind of gross. Sometimes there's blood. Sometimes there will be these giant hands that come at you. Any contact with an enemy, you're instantly dead, or any of their bullets. So you really, really got to make good use of the rotary controller in this. I think we're pretty close to the boss. You'll note that as you go through some of the doors, they'll say section 1, 2, or whatever, and the second number will increase as you get closer to the boss. Those orange enemies, you gotta watch out for those, because they'll come at you pretty quick, and they'll still kind of move at you as you move out of the way. But yeah, those xenomorph enemies, that second form can charge right into you, the purple form that it takes on. Ah, crap. I failed to mention at this point, you have a dodge button. And it's necessary later in the game because there will be some gaps that you'll need to jump across. If you fall into a hole, you're dead. This is just a little too similar to the glut of overhead run and gun games that were really popular at the time. Oops, damn it, that was kind of dumb. Yeah, get used to that rotary controller, that rotary joystick. Yikes! Oh my god. Yeah, at that point there are enemies that are behind you and above you, and you really need to turn that joystick quickly. Now, there will sometimes be floating skulls that you have to watch out for, and they are among the biggest pains in the butt for me in this game, because they will try to follow you and hit you, and there's a bunch of them. Oh crap. Again, don't forget that you have a dodge button, and we are going to face our first boss. There is no breather after a boss. You make good use of your shield. I mean, if you don't have the shield, well, it's going to kind of suck against this boss, but keep charging to get that shield, and back off and shoot this boss. If he lags behind as you're backing away, then he'll reappear behind you. Just try to keep charging that shield, because those missiles are gonna hit you if you're not careful. I just keep charging that button to get that shield, and then just back away and keep shooting at him. He'll move up to try to avoid your shots. And even after you kill him, like I said, you don't get any kind of breather, and there will be critters running around. And now in this area, there will be false floors that will break away as you near them. And you're dead if you don't cross it quickly enough. With floors that you can fall to your death in, open spaces, you can actually kind of lead the enemies to their death. And there's a guy falling in there. But yeah, I really like that shield. That's my favorite. The black hole is kind of cool too. I think you get an extra life at, is it every 50,000? Now here is a part, and you'll see this again later on in the game, that's really, really tough because it's very claustrophobic. Enemies will appear in this very tight quarters, and you just have to survive long enough, and then you'll be out of it soon enough. Really have to make good use of that rotary controller. And I hate those skulls. Ah, god damn it. But yeah, I passed 100,000, so I think I got an extra life. And there's that ring of fire. Burns, ring of fire. And there's the black hole, and I had to use the dodge button or dive button to get past that gap. One thing that's very cool about that dive button, yikes, oh man, one thing that's cool about that dive button is that you can kind of go all John Woo. You can dive and fire as you're diving. It looks very cool. Yeah, I'd never heard of this game back in the day. I hope folks enjoy your weekend. I got home to a very hot household. It was really warm today, so had to fire up all the fans and open the back door and blow some cool air in. We've got more false floors. Yeah, you can dive forward. Ah, crap. I needed to dive forward again. But that is SAR Search and Rescue by SNK in 1989, and again it was the last SNK game to have rotary joysticks and the last SNK game before the MVS arcade board, which was used in the NEO GEO cabinets. And I will show you at least snippets of the rest of the game. There's like four levels, I think. This is pretty much where I left off, or at least close to it. I put on invincibility by this point, so I just wanted to zip through and beat the game. Yeah, I'm taking some requests. I won't take all the requests, because I want to redo my 20 from the 1980s and eventually 1990s series, which I picked what I thought was the 20 best games of each year of the 80s and the 90s. Although I didn't quite get to 1998 or 1999. That's sometime in the future. There's some games that are not yet playable in MAME or emulated. So those series are going to have to be put on hold from the point that I left off. But I want to redo my 80s and 90s series because I had inferior sound quality on my narration, perhaps inferior gameplay or whatever, but I want to redo them and add some cool new twists. And look at that one of these days when I get around to it. I thank you for your requests. So don't dive forward too much. You'll accidentally fall off a cliff or fall into a pit. And this is the second boss. There's some goofy names with or some goofy verbiage that they use in their description of the boss or talking about its weaknesses or whatever. And here's a tank for a boss. The tank is faster than you, so if you're trying to back away from it and shoot it, it'll catch up to you. So you'll have to use a different strategy. But that kind of sucks that you do not get a breather from killing a boss. There can still be enemies wandering about that can kill you. But at least when you die, you pick up right where you left off. But I do think that is cool that you can still fire while you're doing the dive move. Yeah, you cannot fall in that when that hatch opens up. You cannot fall in, so don't worry about that. As I think might have been shown in the demo, and now the boss characters seem to be joining the fun. You know, bosses from earlier. As you might have seen in the attract mode, you can play one player and two player simultaneous play. I'm not sure which game specifically was the very first run and gun game. Some of my favorite, possibly my favorite example of the overhead run and gun. Well, Heavy Barrel was great. Shock Troopers was pretty awesome too. But yeah, in this game you gotta make good use of the rotary knobs. Turn and fire behind you. Sometimes there will be fast enemies sneaking up from behind you or from in front of you. You have to be ready to move your weapon all the way around. Just got a grungy, alien, slimy, sometimes human, bloody feel to this game. It's okay. I can dig it. It's just it gets very hard. Oh god, yeah. Here's that limited room area where the excuse me, the alien enemies just crawl up from over the edge, and you just have like a split second to react. Just have to survive long enough, and then you'll be past that. And yeah, don't dive forward just to get further in the game quicker. You'll run into an enemy, or you'll just fall right off an edge or into a pit. Devil Snake's consistency, devil protein. That just sounds sick and wrong. Some weird descriptions about the boss enemies. This guy is actually easy if you can get to the left of him, or possibly right. You can just back away to the left. He's not as fast as you, so you can just keep backing away and shooting. Avoid his shots, and don't fall into those pits. But he's otherwise really, really easy if you can use this method against him. You can even shoot him off screen a bit. There, I took out one of his heads. There is a life bar of the enemy at the top center, in case you didn't notice this yet. I don't usually use the special weapons or the charge weapons on the bosses, but I sure do like the shield. I find that very useful against them. But one more time, the fast fire power-up is the two dots, one on top of each other. That's the icon, and you hold that down for that blue fire ring, and then the fireball icon gives you fireballs, and you hold the fire button down for a shield. Very limited use shield. And when you collect the missile icon, you can hold down the fire button for a black hole that can suck in a bunch of weaker enemies. It will not work on a boss. I like the graphics. The gameplay is smooth. The character movement is smooth. I wish there were more weapons. But it's all right. There are going to be some requests I'll have to turn down for the time being, because I want to get to that 80s and 90s 20 frame series re-uploads. So I'm going to put in some new stuff and make better audio, perhaps better gameplay. But that'll be coming one of these days. Hope you're able to stay safe and relatively sane during the pandemic, and hope that your stimulus checks, or whatever kind of checks you're getting, are enough. If you're not able to work, I am still able to work. I have had to deal with cleaning up after some of the patients that have tested positive for COVID-19. So I'm on the front line, and appreciate some of the yeah, I do like that black hole. I do appreciate some of the discounts that I get for healthcare workers. Got I think half off of Taco Bell the other day. And here's the last boss. Big Germ, and his consistency is germ grease. But screw you, buddy, I've got invincibility. Take this guy out. shots might be kind of tough to avoid, so let's just waste this bugger real quick. He has 2 forms, and here he arises again after taking a dip in the lava, or whatever that is. You can't fall into that, don't worry. The game won't let you. There we go. And then we just go here, and here is the end of the game. It's a little more story here. Set the self-destruct sequence. And there goes the alien ship, Kablooey. Headquarters has destroyed the investigators' report of the wrecked ship, knowing it will shock the pioneers of the planet. Okay. The ship vanished to the bottom of the ravine with the facts. Even if it happens again, it will never be reported. Well, that was SAR Search and Rescue by SNK in 1989. This was suggested by YouTube user Charlie Cat. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great weekend. Again, stay safe, sane, and practice social distancing. We're starting to turn a corner here, it seems. The NBA announced that it will resume play at the end of July, or at least that's what I heard. That's a positive. Gotta have my sports, man. I'm starting to go crazy here without sports. Well, that was SAR Search and Rescue by SNK in 1989. Well, I thank you for watching. Hope you have a great weekend. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, and I will see you soon with my next video. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.